One, and we are live. How are you, bud?
Dude, honestly, the best I've been ever.
Why is that?
Into med school, baby. I did.
Congratulations, man.
I mean,
Congrats.
oh, I'm on fucking cloud nine, dude. For the people, I guess they can see on YouTube, but cheers. I'm not a massive drinker during the week, but this deserves it for sure. Not even close.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. What are you sipping?
It's some like bullet bourbon or something. I told George I wanted to look fancy, and he was like, "Yeah, this will do it." It's not scotch.
That's all right. Well, maybe next time we could have you and Georgian on there or something. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, doing fantastic, man. Like the honestly, I'll talk more about it as we get going in the conversation, but happiest I've been in forever.
Congrats, man. The mental weight has not only been taken off you, but I personally feel since Monday I've been lighter about 10 pounds. So maybe that's what it was. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
How do been? What's up with you? How you doing?
Good, man. Shout out to Mr. Matt Becerra. I probably, yeah, he's probably been my longest friend since preschool. So Matt shot up here last Thursday, a week ago, and his birthday is 4 days after mine. So we just thought we'd have a joint birthday celebration out here in Phoenix. So, still recovering,
Yeah, of
when
course.
anytime Matt swings by, you got to prepare for it mentally as well as physically days before. But yeah, brought him out Friday to we went to this beautiful cigar bar. I'm actually going to go there tonight after this. Thursdays back home. Shout out to Jack Morgan. Would always have our cigar on Thursdays and just talk life, shoot the shit. And so Friday night here last week, found a cigar bar. So I'm going to go there, do some like DKP work, hang out, and then showed Matt, Old Town Scottsdale and downtown Phoenix. So when you guys come out, maybe sometime when it's a little bit cooler, we can actually shoot north up to Sedona, and that's where we can go hiking and it's not gonna be 1,000 degrees. So yeah, it was great, still recovering, but no, it was fun. Great to see a familiar face. And yeah, can't thank him enough for shooting out here. It's great.
He came home and just said he had the greatest time, man. Like I first of all, I mean, I knew you guys were close. I didn't know we would known each other that long. And we actually had Jack Morgan up.
Mhm.
I didn't know that was like the Three Musketeers, man. You guys have known each other a long, long time.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, and we're all, including yourself, right, evolving, right? We're
Yeah.
not aging, we're evolving, and
Yes, sir.
so with that comes stronger relationships, newer experiences, and I can't wait for you guys to do your thing and explore, and then I get to visit you.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be really fun.
Hey,
But
well, I'm on the right track. I finally get to know what the hell I'm doing, which is great.
you're good, man. But yeah, it was fantastic getting a text from you yesterday. I was fired up. I was like, oh, he must be on cloud a billion, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, congrats, man. Let's talk about you though. Enough about me. Like you're the one who got into med school. That's the 1% right there, man. So congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, to all the listeners, I mean, like I've obviously talked about wanting to be a doctor, blah, 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 this and all that. And I just so everyone knows, like I got into Lake Erie. It's a medical school in northern Pennsylvania. I don't know if I'm gonna go yet. Not because it's not a great program, just because it was a very early acceptance, and I've got a lot of waiting to do. Like I'm waiting on another school, and I'm hoping to get more interviews. And it's just the sense of validation that I had getting that acceptance is like it was so important for everything like in my fucking life, dude. I mean, for people that know me, like I've wanted to do this. I'm not going to say my whole life because that's bullshit. But for a good 6 years, like I've known I want to be a fucking doctor so badly. I went through one full application cycle, didn't get in, and that's totally on my own. Like I needed to fix a lot of things. I fixed that shit. I went on my own merit. I didn't talk to any outside people about my application. I stayed very low key and I really was only going to present good news. Like I didn't say shit to any of my family until I knew that I got in, and I took a chance on myself and took a risk, but got into a really great program that was considered like a fucking honors college or whatever for their med school. And it's because I believed in myself. I was like, I had to say like I'm a great candidate. Like now that they've seen me, there's got to be something, and I'm gonna just go for it. And to get that acceptance was, I mean, it meant everything. It's like, 'cause
Yeah.
I can think that about myself and others can say it to me. And I've had a really good support group network, who's believed in me. And that's awesome. Like, I love everybody who's been on my corner, but I never believed it would happen for myself. And that sounds really cliche and kind of stupid, but like, it's been 3 years of me saying, I hope to go to medical school. Like, really consistently, like, what are you planning on doing? Oh, I hope to go to med school. Like, yeah, I want to be a doctor, but it never came to fruition. And like, I never had enough faith or confidence in myself that it was real. And now I'm fucking in. Like, there's literally like no one can say jack shit to me ever about it. And it's not like people were ever doubting me. It's not like I was angry at the world type of thing, but like I did that on my own merit. And that's the only time in my life I can be like, I'm so beyond happy with myself. Like I've never worked harder for something ever
How do
in
those,
my life.
sorry to interrupt, how do those conversations go when you're speaking to people who are trying to apply or just in medical school in general? Is it always like, yeah, I'm applying to med school, I hope I get in? Or is it, I'm applying to med school, like, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna go? Is it always just very like, I hope I get in type of deal?
And until yesterday, it was always like, I'm applying to medical school. I hope I get in. And then I would go down this rabbit hole of like, I've previously applied. It's super hard, like kind of justifying. And it's not making excuses, but it's trying to explain how hard it is, even for myself. And so I've never been able to look at someone like, man, now that I get to say, yeah, fuck, I'm going to med school. That is so like, that means so much to me because for so long and for like, I say 3 years, but that's just from the first time I applied. It's like, you're trying to say, yeah, I'm hoping to go to medical school. There's just a lot of self-doubt in that answer. And it's just it's a 10 out of 10 feeling saying that I get to like live a fucking dream, quite frankly, and that I did it, you know? Like I don't know if you've had a feeling like that when you got into your masters, but like I've never done something in my professional career that I've been more proud about, like ever.
Yeah,
And it's only gonna go up. It's like this is one step. It's like I'm gonna go to medical school. I'm gonna kick ass. I'm gonna go to a great residency, and I'm gonna be a great doctor. And those are like goals that I can keep fighting for. But the fucking gatekeeper was getting into med school. Like it really, it's so hard. And for anybody going through it, um, like good luck. And I have deep respect for you because that ate me alive emotionally.
yeah. No,
It, yeah.
it's crazy too, because even with applying to a job or getting in with a social group or X, Y, and Z, obviously your example, you're applying to a university to get not only accepted, but a program that's very hard to get into, and hard's not even a good word, but you know, when you send these applications and they're getting reviewed by, let's say, no more than 5 people, that's just 5 people who don't think, not that you're not good enough, but they don't understand if you could succeed there, or there's just better applicants, right? So you never know the real answer. Is it I'm not good enough in terms of those people's opinions, or they're just better talent? It's just, hey, you're not the right fit. And feeling validated is something that people are always doing. I think it's kind of in our DNA.
Yeah.
Like I talked about last podcast, how important it is to feel part of something, a tribe, right? And that's what you're trying to do. You want to be a part of this tribe of this prestigious medical field, which you've done. But I think that feeling of validation is very important that people don't think about when they're applying and when they're trying to explain that they may have not gotten into a job or the program that they wanted to. So in terms of validation, and this kind of goes for anyone, did you feel like you had to always justify after saying, I'm hoping to go to medical school?
Always. And I mean, you're hitting nail on the head. Like that's the toughest thing, is trying to justify that like you are good enough. But I didn't believe it, right? Like you had just said, let's say you've got 5 people reading your application. Even if there's someone just as good or better, it doesn't matter, because that just destroys your self-confidence. And so you had asked about this whole validation theme. It's like, yeah, I'm constantly justifying, like, yeah, I didn't get in last time, but I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I've changed this thing. Oh, but it's excuses, man. And like, it's not even intentional. It's just you're justifying an answer and not feeling worthy. And
Hmm.
like, I mean, I'm pretty pragmatic and I'm kind of open about these things, but like I was a solid candidate. I'm not the best candidate at all. But having that mindset, like it took a lot for me to like get out of my own head and start developing a little bit of confidence around this thing, because I never I couldn't actually believe that I would get into school, like it at all. And it's not like, oh, I got lucky. My point I'm trying to make is like, until you can envision the thing happening, like I'll even go back to when you had talked about being rejected by like an inordinate amount of companies. You just said fuck it, on to the next one. And like I really tried to adopt that mentality, because I said, whoever's not going to want me, like whatever, there's going to be a new opportunity and I got to seize that. And I guess the point I'm trying to make for the listeners is, if you don't really believe, um and you can't like envision what you want, just give, like, don't do it, like you got to work on you, and develop some like enough self-respect to at least go through the process, and it just makes the whole validation that much better. Like,
Hmm.
you know
And
yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, you got it.
I was just gonna say, so when you would tell people this, and you said you somewhat didn't believe yourself when you're like, oh, I'm applying, med school and all this. What made you keep going? Because, from an outsider standpoint, you keep saying, oh, I hope to get in and all this, but then you're saying, I didn't believe I was really gonna get in. How do you sustain persistence, kind of? And it's not a negative thing. It's
Yeah.
just medical school, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's that it took all right. So it took a while, but I have a very like deep passion for patient care. Like I really know, kind of at my core, like being a doctor is really important. It's valued and it's respected. And so like I had to think about my life work. And to me, all that matters kind of for everything is just like, if I know that I'm waking up, my work's gonna make a difference, and like, and I get to just make people feel good, I'm cool with that. Like that's enough of a life for me. Um, and you had asked what made me keep going. It's that I felt that that is like the most important thing to me. I don't know what other people think. Maybe it's really egotistical, but I had to find something that was a little bit bigger than myself. Um, because if it was just me saying, "Oh, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong and like I can fucking get in," that's just stupid. And that's what I thought, certainly at the beginning of the application cycle. I said, I'm going to prove all those schools wrong that rejected me last time. And all these people that probably think I'm an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Like that's how I'm going to apply. That's just an angry mindset. And it's kind of
Mm.
foolish. And it's not very introspective. And like, that's not even really a good reason to fight for something. Like the reason I kept going is because I knew the end game. And the end game is like, I'm going to be changing lives. And that
Right.
sounds stupid. And like, it sounds like, oh, like every doctor would say that, but that was enough for me. Like it's much bigger than me just being like, oh, Jake's going to be a sick doctor. Like,
Mm.
no, my purpose in the fucking world is really valuable. And that's what kept me going. And so it's a little bit of a personal vendetta, but to be kind of relatable, it was about finding something a lot bigger than me and developing, like we always talk about, developing a why that was really powerful. I mean, that's like something to my core,
Yeah. And I'm curious, what would happen if it didn't work out? Because there could be people just
Yeah.
as passionate as you are, and it will just never work out. Not that they're not good enough, but like I'd said, it's only those 4 to 5 people looking at your application. What about the other 4 to 5 people down the hall, right? Like, and they could
Yeah.
love you.
Thankfully, healthcare is massive. I would have went to PA school or would have become a nurse practitioner. I don't think a lot of people applying to med school would have done that. They probably would have just gone into industry and made a boatload of money. But like I said, all that was gonna make me happy was seeing patients. Like what we're doing, this is fun. Like we're just shooting the shit. We're talking, learning a little bit about each other, growing. That's amazing. I get to have that relationship with so many people down the line. I was like, that's it. I mean, that's what I'm here to do, basically. And so I just would have become a PA, which would have been great. And the only reason for anyone even considering the PA med school thing, if you're listening, the only reason I went for the med school track is I had put so much time into it, like so much time. And I wasn't just going to I wasn't going to quit without giving it one more honest shot, like with this new kind of swagger about me. But if it didn't work out, I mean, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, you still would have been in the field and working with patients because that's ultimately what you wanted to do. So my thing too with it all is, all right, we're in.
Mm-hmm.
We're not necessarily going there. We're still waiting. But once you get accepted, and I'm trying to just make this applicable to anyone working towards something and they want to achieve. I was listening to this guy, I forgot his first name, last name Huberman. He has a podcast called the Huberman Lab. He's been on Joe Rogan. He's got his own podcast. He's a Stanford professor as well. And he talks about dopamine levels and how the study of understanding dopamine and how it works and how you can help create the release of dopamine, maybe not on a daily basis, but you can work towards it. And it pretty much revolves around like new experiences or hitting a goal. You have these two, it's like a seesaw effect. If for you, it's gonna look like my left hand, but this hand is like happy dopamine. And when this raises, I forgot what the other thing is called, but this other chemical that reduces dopamine goes down. And so over time, right, so we're getting all excited, we're here, that honeymoon effect comes down with the dopamine because it's trying to come back to homeostasis, which is why, for example, you're with a new partner, it's great, it's exciting, and then over time it comes here. And then there's this weird drop that feels like, I'm not as excited. And it's only because those dopamine levels are equaling out. There's more on it and everything, but I just thought it was interesting because I feel like when people hit this goal and they get that huge effect, that big rush of excitement, it can last a second to months, but it will wear off eventually. So how do you sustain that passion for what you're doing? And I think it starts with the why.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're very passionate. You've been very passionate about it. But it also means there's new challenges that awaits. And that's where I think you can set yourself up for more of those dopamine rushes to stay interested. I'm not saying that you're not going to stay interested, but things can get mundane, passion can drop. And that's where I think people get in trouble and get too comfortable, don't care, and then, provide unpassionate care. So I'm excited for you with the new challenges. I don't know why I brought that dopamine thing up, but I think it's important in terms of just experiencing something new. You've accomplished something, and you don't know what awaits just yet, but it's exciting for sure.
Oh, I agree. I think that that's a really great point. In terms of just like a dopamine rush, and then we'll call it like the adrenaline dump, because that's like
Yeah,
a pretty illustrative, like people could understand what that means. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm on cloud nine. I'm as happy as I could be. I just accomplished like the thing that's been just it's been so hard for so long, but it like that happiness isn't just going to last. And I guess what I'm getting at is we constantly talk about goal setting, and you had said like let's find some new passions, right? This was just step one.
right.
This was such a massive accomplishment. Yeah, I'm gonna flourish and be so happy, and like, yeah, I'll probably sound like an asshole for a while, but fuck that. Like I
Fun.
yeah, like I deserve that for a week at least.
Yeah.
Um, but then the second goal is like now I need to keep working because I'm not done with applications. I'm not done with applying schools. I need to find now the best fit because now I get options. Like step one was getting in. That was like the gatekeeper. Now it's a whole new world. I need to find what's going to help me be the best doctor that there is. And then once I figure out the medical school, I keep going and I figure out what's going to make me compassionate. Where am I going to train at? And then down the line, like, how am I going to make a change? So it doesn't end. And, you know, this is way back, but George had made George Russo, who was on our podcast, had made the comment about never peak. And his example was about continuing to apply for jobs always. And honestly, I thought it was really silly. I was like, fuck that. If you're comfortable, you're making good money, why would you ever leave? But now that I kind of get it, it's like that dopamine analogy is pretty spot on. If you stay stagnant in our world that like demands constant progression and growth, you're not really living.
Right.
Like, sorry. Um, you know, and there's times where like you're just in a fucking rut and that's annoying, but try to find something new. Like if you give the effort, that's all that matters. If you're not finding something, that just means like, yeah, bad luck, man. But you got to try and you've got to give it your all. But
I was
done.
gonna
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, if you put yourself in vulnerable spots like you have been the past 6 years applying to med school, well, applying for 3 years, but it's been a passion for about 6, 7 years. A lot of successful people do say that there was luck involved,
Damn right,
but
there's luck. Yeah.
but they put in the work and they become vulnerable enough and put themselves in different positions to be lucky. So yeah, it's interesting, always putting pedal to the metal. Can't do it all the time. Life gives us ruts. But I think when you're in that rut, you can't be in a rut forever. And usually you find a new piece of yourself in those ruts that you can take on to that next dopamine rush and you move on. So it's gonna be interesting. like seeing the application process
Yeah, keep
kind
on
of come full circle, see where you end up, hear about the new challenges, but it's great, man. It's
Yeah.
nice to hear for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a big sigh of relief. And I mean, we wanted to keep this short, so I'll wrap it up because this has basically just been Jake's in the med school thing, and that's awesome, and I'm happy that we did it. But for anyone listening, I think all I really wanted anyone to take away from this, it wasn't going to be like, oh, follow your dreams, keep pushing, yada yada yada. It's develop, like, kind of figure out who you are. I don't know how you do that, but if you need to listen to podcasts, read books, explore, go talk to people, figure out what's really important to you, figure out what you're really good at, and then ride with it. I mean, that took me a couple of years to do, but through this podcast and kind of just trying new shit and getting a lot more comfortable in my own skin, a lot changed, and I found out what I'm good at, what I suck at, and what I like. So we had talked about exploring last week, but it's really important. Like, get kind of in touch with you, because there's no one else better to be, and really like start respecting that. And I think good things probably will come. I can only speak on this example, but that was the point I was trying to get at, is when I became a lot more comfortable with me, good stuff happened, and now I just accomplished a goal. So that's the
Mhm.
point. Yeah.
That's it, man. And think
Yeah.
about yourself like a year ago, like where
Oh,
you are,
it's
you know?
fucking crazy. Like,
So it's interesting. It's cool. It's cool to see the development from my eyes as well. So yeah, other than that, we just wanted to relate Jake's experience and talk about validation and figuring out who you are. And once you figure out who you are, like you'd said, ride with it, man. Because there's only one Jake Alexander, right? And
and
that's
just,
your niche.
yeah, and just like there's one Dan Canary, and to all the listeners that just won you, and like
So
there's no better or worse. There is. It's like you're you, be you, and do it.
I
All
love
right.
it. I'm jacked up.
All right,
I
listeners.
just want to
Yeah.
let people know too. Saturday, October 2nd, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm just running a programming session 101. If you want to learn how to program for yourself at a very basic level, I'll break it down for you. If you're interested, feel free to shoot me a DM on IG. So that's it for me, man.
All right. Hey, listeners, until next time, peace.